it was kind of a secret. Nobody really talked about reselling. What's going on, guys? So we have 50 items to pack up, $1,174. I had a comment from a viewer, one of you guys out there had mentioned something that it's been on my mind all night since I read it. I want to get into it. It's about new sellers coming to eBay or just reselling in general. And it's a pretty big topic, so we're going to spend some time talking about that. All right, before we get into the topic, we got to kind of set ourselves up. We got our cart here that I made, and I got to grab a box. This is our inventory box. It's the 30 by 8 by 8. I order them from Uline, but my friend Mike, he said that you can get them from eBay. I didn't know you could find them on eBay. Anyway, that's K&M Resell. He started his YouTube channel. It's really popping off. So if you guys want to like see how he's doing things, we pretty much have the same system. And he's actually the one that told me about decreasing items by 5% whenever you're delisting and selling similar. So Mike's got a lot of good information over there. But let's get into the topic of today's video. So the comment read something like this. Could you make a video with tips towards beginner sellers? And he goes on to say, waiting for months for small profits just isn't realistic. Now, that kind of hurt my heart a little bit because, you know, that's exactly what I do. I get $4 to $5 buy costs into $7 profit. We do it all year, thousands of items, and we make enough money to survive. Now, I think what he's getting at with that is he wants to find big profits and not wait months for those returns to come in. So I'll get to that in a minute. He also said he doesn't want to put money into an item if he's not sure if he's going to make a return like months down the line. Totally understand the fear there. I totally get it. And then he says, as a beginner, it's difficult to find what is profitable. Yeah, tell me about it, man. It's hard for me too. I mean, obviously I've, seen a lot more items than somebody who's brand new, so it is easier for me, but to find good items, it is extremely difficult. So I'm going to tackle each one of those bullet points, kind of explain, what I think about how to go about it as a brand new reseller. Like if I was a day one reseller, how would I tackle this eBay game? So I'm going to grab a few items and then come back and chat once I get to an item that is worth talking about, so you guys can kind of see like, oh, this is one that's actually something we can find. But let's just pull a couple right now. All right, so we're going to stop with two items. Now, these are items that sold for a little bit more than my kind of standard sale. This one right here is Salt Valley. This is a Western Pearl Snap shirt. Now, it's a size small, so it didn't sell for as much. It's not in the best condition. I would consider it like good condition. There's no holes or stains, but it's definitely been washed and worn a few times. So this item right here sold for $17.91 plus $8.99 shipping. You spend the $4 or $5 on it, and there's your profit. The next one I want to talk about is this True Religion. This is the Rocco. It's ROCCO, and it's a pair of jeans. It's a relaxed skinny jeans. I think it's let's see. It's a men's jean. Now this is white. It did have a stain on it, and it sold for $20 plus the $8.99 shipping. So $28.99 on a pair of True Religion Rocco jeans, or however you want to pronounce it. And, pretty good items. Now, can you find those types of items in your thrift stores? Absolutely. They're definitely out there. The problem with finding that in your thrift store is you have to find it before somebody like me finds it. Now, who's somebody like me? I'm a little bit, I would consider like definitely above average of a, reseller. However, there's people that are a lot better than me that are doing much more volume and even more, higher dollar items. Waiting for months for small profits. Now, these items were over in this side of the inventory. So this part of my inventory is the older part of my inventory. I can kind of go off of SKUs. Those were in the, 14,000 and below range. I'm currently at 23,000. So what that means is, we're putting about 1,000 items up each month. I think, if that makes sense, 30 a day times 30 is 900. So yeah, about 1,000 a month. So you can kind of subtract how many months back it took to sell. So maybe those items were listed 9 months ago. So 9 months ago, just to make the profit that, we talked about. That's a really long time. Waiting that long for small profits isn't realistic. I need to ask you, like, what what is realistic to you. If you want to create this as like a side business, you need to have an expectation for how much money you want to make, because a lot of it determines how much effort you put in, and then also how you put that effort in. The reselling game has changed in the last 4 to 5 years. I would say it has changed dramatically. So I got in at 2019, but Harry Tornado is like, a great YouTuber. And if you kind of look at his YouTube channel, you can kind of see the growth of reselling. It's actually a pretty good, kind of like a little microcosm of the reselling game in general. And what I mean by that is, you know, you have the people who are doing the reselling on YouTube before him. There was probably like a half dozen really big channels. And then he came along and started making content. And you kind of saw like, okay, so he was making 20, 30, maybe 40,000 a year doing this pretty full time, but also doing YouTube. And then at that point, a lot of people were getting into the space like me. And what happened was we were all learning from the people he had learned from and kind of learning on our own. And then whenever, COVID happened and everybody started, we're stuck at home, started watching YouTube, a lot of them discovered reselling at that point. And probably some of you guys are like, oh yeah, I started in 2020 or 2021, or I'm starting right now, 2024. And the thing about it is, I had already been reselling for a couple years. A lot of people had already been reselling for a couple years. And I'm not talking about the resellers of old that had the flea markets, the ones that went to the garage sales, like the American Picker generation, let's just call that, like those types of people. Now they're still out there and they're really frustrated with people like us talking about these profitable items on the internet. And partially is because it was kind of a secret. Nobody really talked about reselling. It was basically like, shh, like don't let the thrift stores know I'm about to sell this at the flea market for $50. Now, if you were to start and go to a garage sale, guess what? Every garage sale in your town is likely going to have a reseller there right when they open. Now, one of the things you could do as a new reseller, which I learned this from Hustle at Home Mom, is you can call the person having the garage sale beforehand. You can call them and say, hey, I would like to make a sizable purchase. I saw this in your photo. I'd like to see if you have more of it. I also buy a lot of clothes. I'll buy all the men's clothes. Now, you have to be tactful with it, because a lot of times it seems sketchy, like having some random person come to your house and buy a bunch of things. Sometimes they're super motivated. And I'll tell you this, I've tried it a handful of times. It absolutely works. It really does. I've gotten to go before the garage sale opens. Now, the thing about it is sometimes it's not good. Sometimes they're like, well, we can't do that. Just come early. And then no matter how early you get to a garage sale, there's going to be somebody there at the crack of dawn, like waiting in the dark for the first bit of light for them to ambush the garage sale people. And those are the more aggressive resellers. And it worked. That technique works too. So I guess it rambled on, but like try to figure out what is realistic for what kind of profit you want to make. But that little garage sale tip of like calling early, that is one way you can kind of get after this. But going to the thrift store and stumbling upon a Nintendo 64, like or even like just a really nice item, that's not going to happen in the racks very often. And the reason I say that is because at thrift stores, when the new carts come out with hard goods, or when the new clothing racks come out, most of the time now you'll see a reseller right there when they open. I know people that stay at the Salvation Army on half off day. They hang out there all day waiting for the new racks to come out. I know people in my town that aren't necessarily as big a reseller as me, but they are good enough to find all the Carhartt jackets as soon as they come out. Like, they're not going to pass on that stuff. It's definitely difficult, and I don't want to discourage you from trying. You definitely can get into this, but if you have ambitions of making, like, let's just say $1,000 a month profit, you're going to find it's going to take some figuring out of how to get in front of these items in order to resell them. It's not going to just be laid out in front of you at the thrift store, because that's like a hot spot. Like, a lot of people, that's like the low hanging fruit. A lot of people know, okay, the thrift store is going to put out something on the new rack that's going to be profitable. I'm going to be there to pick it up. If you're doing this part time where you have a full time job and you're getting it after work, you're probably not going to see many of those items. Let's grab a few more and talk about some. All right, couple items here. So we have this one, my favorite brand to wear as far as pants goes. Now, these are the 511 Tacticals. This is a darker one, which I wish I could find in my size. It sold for $20 plus $8.99 shipping. Now, the thing about 511 Tactical is this one doesn't have like that like rope looking thing that goes on the back, if you can see here. These don't. These are the second gen ones. They have an elastic waist where it gives you like an extra inch or so, and they are the ripstop material. So those are the ones that sell for a little more money. I don't even buy the other ones now. I used to pick them up, even at like $5. It's really kind of on the fence. Has to be the right size. I've talked about this on my channel before. If you find a men's pair of pants or jeans in between the sizes of 32-32 and 36-36, like that range, it's a safer bet that it's going to sell faster. Now, if you find something with like a tight waist but like long inseam, that actually can sell well as well. If you find super big pants, sometimes those can sell, but you know, these are one of my favorite ones. They're super comfortable. I love wearing them. They're good for working, and they're also good for just kind of casual wear. Love this brand. The next one is a women's pair of it's a skort. A skort is like a pair of shorts with a skirt. So you can kind of picture like a tennis player. I think they wear this for athletic wear. Now this is the brand Athleta. I've heard Athleta from some of the women reselling channels. I've seen it on like Instagram. Sometimes just kind of having that in your feed, kind of getting some of those brands through like osmosis is a good way to do it. This one sold for $18 plus $8.99 shipping. I don't know, not sure if it's exactly like priced correctly, but it's sold, so really happy about that. All right, so let's get to the next bullet here. Don't want to put money into something when you're not sure if it's going to make its return. So yeah, I totally understand. Nobody wants to spend money and then have a chance of losing it. It's a risk. I mean, this business, it's pretty low risk as far as businesses go. I mean, imagine opening a restaurant or anything like that where you have a brick and mortar, you have to get staff and all kinds of product and then hopefully try to sell. Like reselling definitely takes a lot of the risk out of it. And by doing that is with the help of eBay sold comps and Terapeak, you can see the data, you can see the trends. And if you're one of those that just don't trust it, then maybe it's not quite, you know, the thing for you. Now, I get it. A lot of this is hard. I mean, it took me years to figure this stuff out. And the only reason I like it makes it seem easy is because I've been doing it for so long, and then I was like, well, let me make some videos to kind of show people how to do it. And I had the help of people's videos that I saw. So that's another thing that kind of makes it work for me. Now, with saying that, I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of videos during my full-time job when I had this as a part-time business. I constantly watched YouTube. I didn't have a child at that point. It was just me and my wife, and I had a lot of extra time where I could just kind of focus. Now, I have a lot less time. Like if you have a big family or other responsibilities and you're trying to like grow a business, it's going to be difficult. It's not going to happen overnight, and you're going to have to put a little bit of money and mainly time. You're going to have to put your time, which time is money. You know, you're going to have to spend time just kind of watching and figuring out what people are doing. Like if you're trying to go the everything seller route, I think that's a good way to start just because there's money in all categories and you'll see more of everything at a garage sale. So what I mean by that is like when I go to a garage sale and look for clothes, there may not be any clothes. But that doesn't mean there's not any money at that garage sale. You just have to look at each item. So kind of get in a few categories that you're kind of comfortable or you have some knowledge of. Like say you grew up playing with toys, or you have like expertise with car parts or just anything, I guess. And even like pots and pans or makeup or just whatever that people have that they're selling, and you have some information on it, that's going to help you get like a little bit of an edge, because in this game you want a competitive advantage over everybody else. My competitive advantage, one, it doesn't cost much where I live. The problem with that is there's not a lot of money where I live, so I have to travel to thrift stores, so that's a disadvantage. But the advantage is, you know, I have less money to pay for bills and rent and stuff like that. So I don't need as much money to survive. And I also have a competitive advantage being in the middle of the country for shipping. So that helps too. But besides the point, it's going to be nerving to like put money out there and not know if this is the right thing to do. Maybe set aside $100 for the month, try to resell with just the 100, see what money you can make out of it, and then invest that total amount, that you got back plus the profit into the next month and see what you can do. Trust me, for me, I did not have much money. I was making, what was it, like $13, $14 an hour, and then trying to resell on the side. Like I would do lawns, I would mow lawns, I would do tree work, I would try to do anything to get any kind of money to spend more on inventory. It was very difficult in the beginning. I did not just snap my fingers and started making like hundreds and thousands of dollars. Um, Hundreds or thousands. I haven't made like hundreds and thousands. I've sold hundreds and thousands, but um, you guys know what I'm talking about. So it's difficult. It's not an easy task. I'm so surprised. Like when I heard this message, I was kind of like, what do they want me to say? Like, I mean, how can I really explain this in one video of like, dude, it's not easy. Like when you talked about waiting for months for small profits just isn't realistic. Like I don't want to sell low profit items. Like I would love to sell high profit items all the time, but I cannot because I cannot find high profit items all the time. Like um, my friend Mike, I'll bring him up again because he is in the Dallas Fort Worth area. He can go to these stores as soon as they restock. He has a much higher chance of finding good items all the time than I do because I have to travel 2 hours to get there. And then he may have already been to a couple of those stores. Now he shops, different stores than I do, but there's some that cross over. And if him or his wife get there before me, guess what? There's a high likelihood I'm not going to find the higher end stuff. I'm going to find these lower end items, which sucks, but it still works because I'm paying low enough and I know these are going to sell. Now, sales have kind of slowed from the holiday season, but that's just kind of part of it. Come spring, summer, guess what? I'm going to have an increase in sales because a lot of my items are spring, summer items. Let's pull a couple more and then we will continue on with this conversation. Okay, so I pulled a couple items for us to talk about. First one I want to talk about, this is the Levi metal snap button shirt. Okay, I said that wrong. This is the Levi metal button shirt. The metal button shirt, it has buttons that are a bit thicker, almost like you would see for the belt, or not belt, but like the jean button, like that type of button. That's the one that's on the shirt. I think it's a little smaller and they're usually silver. The metal button shirts, I've sold them every time I've picked them up. This one went for $20 plus $8.99 shipping. Thing about it is, some of them are a bit older. They'll go for more money, and then some are a little more current, but um, love picking them up. They're pretty easy to spot. I don't find them all the time, but when I do, it's a no-brainer. I'll spend up to like $10 on them just because I'm so confident that it's going to sell, and I'm going to get my money back plus some. The next one, this is a newer brand that I picked up. This one is called Hylete. Hylete. This is a short sleeve polo. It sold for $17 plus $8.99 shipping. Pretty good money for a brand that looks super common. Something that doesn't look spectacular. Almost looks like one of those fast fashion, quick, like products that just get popped up. Maybe there's an influencer behind it. Maybe there's just, some company that stole, or not stole, but like, borrowed the exact feel, material, style of another popular brand. You can see right now Lululemon, everyone loves the commission pants and has that awesome feel. It has this slick button where it looks super basic. Well, if you look, George, the Walmart brand, that actually has come out with a pair of pants that looks exactly like it. Now, I don't know if it feels exactly like it, but when I see that button in the pants section in the thrift store, I always think, well, this is possibly Lululemon, and then I find out it's George, and I get so upset when I see it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like even the lower end brands are quickly catching on to these other high end brands. Okay, so I filled up the box down here. I'm actually going to grab another box so we can keep on picking items. I got a lot to pick because I didn't do any shipping on Sunday. Chicago Bears, if you guys didn't know, they lost to the Packers again. And it's a bit of a depression for me whenever the football season ends, but especially when the team does poorly at the end. It's pretty rough. So it took me a few hours to like get back into the groove, but got to knock this out. Got to eat lunch. Got to pay my employee Randy. Talk to her. She's working today. And but yeah, I got one or two more things on the bottom of this from that viewer that gave that great comment that I'm gonna get to. Let's grab another box though. Continue this. Another thing that they said as a beginner, it's difficult to find what is profitable. I agree. It's hard. It seems like it's always been hard. Yes, it's gotten easier, but as it's gotten easier for me to find the good stuff, there's more people looking for the good stuff. So it's not really gotten much easier. It's just gotten more frustrating when you see somebody buy a bunch of stuff right in front of you. Reselling in 2024, moving forward, I think that there are a lot of other ways to make money. I think reselling is an easy way. I definitely would give it a shot. However, I think videos, social media, creating shorts for businesses. Now, let me explain. I create shorts for my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my TikTok, things like that. I talk about the items I find. I try to play around with the editor. If you like video games, if you like playing with the computer, I guess, like, editing and making things look cool, I think that's a good route to go. Now, let me tell you this. If you can create ads for people like other businesses, they will really appreciate that. They don't want to go to the news station or whoever makes commercials and pay $1,000, $1,500 for a 3-minute commercial when you can make a 1-minute commercial and charge them like 50, 100, $200. So let's put this out there. Say there's a clothing store, like a mom and pop store. Say they sell clothes. Say it's a boutique store. You could tell them, hey, let me make a piece of content for you, like a commercial for free. Let me know what you think. You make them a commercial, they get 500 views, 1,000 views, and you're like, look, you got 500,000 more people see that you are out here in the town doing your thing, and they're liking it or commenting or whatever. And then they say, wow, that's great. Can you make another one? You're like, I can, but I'm going to have to charge you. So that's one route that you can make money. But another thing you can do in that is say you just make them a free piece of content. Maybe they let you buy at a discounted rate. Hey, I'll make a piece of advertisement for you, and then maybe I can get stuff at 50% off for like a one-time buy or something like that. You have to get a little creative. You have to provide value to people. I think the era of all the stuff just coming to you with little work and effort, meaning you walk into a thrift store and you see a ton of jerseys or a ton of vintage clothing or a bunch of video games, and you just scoop them all up for pennies on the dollar and you just throw them online for whatever price, and you end up making a ton of money because the competition's low, the thrifting's easy. That stuff is gone. It is absolutely not available anymore. However, social media is there. So like in the past, you couldn't arbitrage that. Like you couldn't compete with like a news station. But like the phone I'm filming on, the mics I'm using, like all this equipment is reasonably priced, and you can get your hands on it and you can make a creative piece of content. You can have AI help you make that content, provide that value to somebody who doesn't understand that or doesn't want to learn it. If you can provide something, you can help them. And then you throw in affiliate marketing. Like eBay is my main source of income, but I am slowly shifting and building more sources of income with other methods similar to the ones I just explained. But yeah, finding profitable items is difficult. You have to get more creative. You have to find a way to get items really before they hit the thrift store, and that means from people's house. So it's very tough to do that. And you cannot solicit. You can't go door to door and say, hey, let me buy your old stuff that you're thinking about selling in a few weeks. You can't really do that, but you can put posts out there on Facebook. You can say, I'm looking to buy this. Like, you ever been driving around and you see a sign with a little house and it says a phone number, it says, we pay cash? Those people are trying to buy and resell houses. I mean, I think personally, if I were to try to figure out how to make a lot of money quick, like they're talking about, this buyer says they want like more profits quickly, they don't want to wait months. I would try to sell cars. You could try to find a car. And the reason I say that is because my grandma had passed when I made the shift to full time. That's actually one of the reasons I did shift to full time. She had a car. It was a Hyundai Elantra. I actually have a video on how I sold it on Facebook. It's not a good video, so don't try to learn from that video. But I pretty much just tell the story of like, look, this car was damaged. I tried to find the fair market value. You use Kelly Blue Book. You look on different car sites, used car lots, and see what that type of car is going for. And then you just post it. Somebody shows up, they test drive it or whatever. You sign the title over, all that stuff, and there you go. Now, if you want to make $1,000 a month, I think selling cars is a much better way. Now, maybe you have a car that you need to get repaired, so you have to put the money in, like you have to invest it, just like if you were to invest a few $100s in inventory and hope to get the money back. You could do that with cars. And the reason I say that, cars are big items. People spend a lot of money on cars. A lot of people need it. A lot of people don't spend a lot on used clothing. I mean, obviously there's the outliers, the vintage stuff, but this common stuff, people are spending between $20 and $30, and I'm paying, less than five. I think that is one way to get into reselling, and you don't have to just follow what everybody else is doing on the internet. Like that's probably one of the worst things to do. Now, it can definitely get you in and kind of get you an understanding, but if you want to kind of like be better than some of the other people, you kind of got to go against the grain and kind of got to think outside of the box. And running a business yourself and being, you know, the brains, being the labor, being the everything to the business, you have to know how to problem solve, and you have to know how to try things. You know, you like set a plan and you try it. You know, it's very easy to see somebody else do it on the internet, or it's very easy to plan it all out and make sure it's all perfect and then never do it. That's easy to do too. But to actually go out there and risk getting, denied, or risk losing, risk failing, that's a hard thing to face. I mean, it's hard to get knocked down over and over again and keep coming back. It sounds like a Rocky speech, but I'm telling you, that's how it is. Like, this is not as easy as people make it seem. Now, the reason YouTubers make it seem easier, they want to tell you can make 40, 60,000 part-time or 100,000 full-time. Like, to me, those people are doing it for clicks. They want the views. They want to get everybody ramped up. I mean, it's like, let's rally the base of resellers and let's say, hey, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Like, I'm telling you, it's possible, but I'm telling you, it's not easy. Not everyone can do it. You just can't. There's some people that just can't process it. I mean, some people are meant to be followers and some people are meant to be leaders, and some people think outside the box, and some are super good at staying inside the lines, and they're like, hey, if you tell me what to do, I'll do it 100%. That's fine. But this type of work, this type of job, you cannot expect to do the same thing year after year and expect same and better results. It's usually going to be same or worse results. Like, it's definitely not going to get any easier out there. So, a bit of a rant. I do want to say, in defense of this person, they said, a second comment came down. They said, or should I slowly add up my listings until profit comes in? And that's pretty much the answer. But do you want to sell thousands of items? Do you want to store thousands of items? I would say probably not. Like, if I were to redo this, I think I would try to focus on different things. I mean, I definitely love the money coming in, and it is supporting my family and paying the bills. But there's a lot of ways to make money out there. Reselling clothing at low price for volume, it's not all what it's worked up to be. It's pretty laborious, it's time intensive, and it's getting harder to do out there because of other resell. I mean, um, think of like the Daily Refinement Tech and Sports groups when they were together, and now I guess Daily Refinement is not with Tech, and Tech has his own group. But then there's Dixon Pickens and Bo Johnson. They have like their group. All these groups and like collective things. Kaylee Eileen, I think, has a thing now. So all these people are just boosting up everybody else. So I mean, you can maybe try to jump in and just chase everybody and try to figure out what they're doing to get ahead. Now, that might be the way, and it may make you some money. But what I'm telling you is a lot of people are got their eyes on that, right? Like, a lot of people are doing that. So maybe you need to see what some people aren't doing and try to figure out things there. And there's a whole nother world of resellers with very, niche things or things you don't think of. And you're always going to have somebody to battle against, and it's a tough thing. So I'm going to finish. I feel like I went way off the deep end, but I hope you guys kind of understand what I was getting at. My point of view on it is obviously, what I said in this video. And yeah, I don't want to discourage anybody, but I do want to let you know, like, look, if I could make more money, if I could sell higher profit stuff, if I could like do better, like, trust me, I'm trying. Like, this is kind of what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure it out. But I'm also understanding that there's other easier ways to make money out there than reselling. There just is. Now, the trick to it is you have to build skills to get to that point. And in order to build skills, you have to have time to build skills. And in order to have time, you have to have money, take care of things so that you don't have to spend all your time, making money. So it's like, it's the chicken and the egg thing. Like, you need money to survive. You need free time. How do you get free time? You make enough money so you don't have to work as much. It's a tough thing. I'm not, and also you could sleep less, work later hours. I mean, that's definitely what I had to do, and what I still kind of am doing to figure this whole thing that we call life and business out. So uh, I don't know. I got a lot to ship. I'm gonna cut the camera off because you guys slow me down a little bit. But I'm glad that you guys came in to hang out. Make sure to like the channel, subscribe. Yeah, I hope this helped, man. And thanks for the question, dude. It had my wheels spinning a little bit last night and this morning. So um, yeah, if you guys have any video ideas or questions you want answered, make sure to just drop them down in the comments. You could say, hey, please talk about this in a video, or hey, I'm really needing this. Like, what can you kind of provide for me? And if you're asking questions through eBay message, don't message me through eBay. I'm not going to answer those messages because I don't want eBay to see that it looks like I'm trying to talk about YouTube or Instagram, any other type thing. And it's hard for me to even respond to that without saying like one of those platforms. I don't want eBay to hear me talking about platforms when that's supposed to be about commerce of their site. So if you guys have any questions, just reach out in the comments and I'll see you guys next time.